So managing business market channels or distribution channels as such. So when you talk about business marketing channel, again, it can be of two types. And if I combine them both, it will be hybrid. Direct channels, which are owned by company, right? And indirect channels. So we are talking about the B2B marketing channels. So when you talk about direct market channels of a B2B company, right? It can be through their website also, right? I want to, like my university want to purchase Zoom licenses. I can go to Zoom website, find out the contact details, or in sometimes I need not have to find the contact details. I can directly buy from the website. If I want to buy certain licenses for SPSS, Tableau, any other software which or SaaS, right? I can go to their website as an institute or as a university or as a company. Let's say I need 50 licenses. I can pay the money and I can download those licenses, right? For Microsoft Office or whichever software we are going to use, right? Or it can be through a contact center, right? So that is the kind of number you get those numbers from the website, you give them a call, so they connect with you a salesperson and accordingly take it forward. Or direct sales team. So whenever you need you are a large client or a big customer and you need certain customized solutions, right? We discussed a lot of times this example. Pitt University was one of the first university to implement SAP, right? So in that case, it cannot be just I cannot go and pay money and download SAP license, right? It won't work like that. I need their SAP resources to come to my campus, understand my problem, customize the SAP software, whatever their ERP software, and accordingly provide me a solution, right? And obviously train my employees, those people who will be using SAP software from human resources, from finance, some of the faculties, IT team, right? So they need to get trained about it. So in that case, you need a little bit of long hand holding, right? So that is where your direct sales people will come into picture. Or it can be retail or locations. It can be your own company owned retailers or locations where let's say Tata Motors or Ashok Leyland are selling these vehicles, trucks, right? So it can be through the retailers, big retailers or big locations that is again owned by the company, right? So those are the direct. Direct means it is owned by the company, right? So there is no intermediary between company and the customer. Or it can be indirect, direct through your distributors, sorry, indirectly through your distributors. The distributors might have their own retailers, right? There is some new concept called agent or broker, right? So that is somewhere we'll focus. That is something new in B2B. They are known as manufacturing representative, and we will discuss why they are different from your distributors, right? So anyway, that point we'll keep it aside and we'll discuss after 2 or 3 slides. So how your indirect channels will work? Online only retailers, right? So there are specific websites who deal in particular commodities, particular items. You need to sell rubber or you need to sell steel. You need to sell certain kind of commodities. There are websites for that, right? So you can go through that and sell them. Or omni-channel retailers. There are retailers like Amazon, Flipkart, or certain kind of in India, let's say Udan or Alibaba, right? You can sell through them also, right? They will provide you different based upon what kind of partnership you have. It is not only you are using that platform, they can help you in financing also, they can help you in warehousing also, right? So depending upon what kind of plan you are taking, they can help you in a lot of things. Then there is something interesting called value added resellers, right? So value added resellers, partners and franchises will try to again sometimes those concepts get intermingled, but we'll try to understand what are the key differences. Value added resellers are some third party vendors, right? Who basically, again, it is a partnership, but generally what happens, they'll take your software, customize it for their customers, right? So like I was giving that SAP kind of integration, right? Or let's say SPSS, right? There are many vendors in India. So what they do, they take the license from SPSS, customize it, they add certain additional capabilities, competencies around SPSS, and they try to sell it to different institutes, different universities, right? There are kind of companies who buy this kind of Microsoft Office. They integrate with some additional component. Let's say you have a scheduling. sales scheduling or for manufacturing scheduling, right? Microsoft Office is basically into your Word, PowerPoint, Excel, then your maybe Microsoft Outlook, right? But can we integrate those plant scheduling or sales scheduling, which happens in a separate software, along with your my Outlook, right? So that whenever there is a scheduling meeting and all those things, that can be integrated into my Microsoft Office and Microsoft Teams, right? So that work is basically done by that value added reseller. So from the name also you can just understand the name, value added. So they're adding certain values. They're adding certain additional components, services, or product and reselling that, right? So they take the license from the, or they buy the product from the manufacturer, make certain changes, make certain customization, and resell it to your next customer, right? So that is the work of a value-added reseller. Partners are somebody. Partners are basically you have certain technology, other uh, company have certain other technology. You need to take their help. So you are in equal footage. They are not buying your software. In value-added reseller, what happens? They are buying your software or product. They are taking the ownership, making certain changes, then reselling it. In partnership, what happens? Both of you are coming together. Last class we were discussing that, right? Zoom, let's say they partner with Moodle, right? So Zoom is providing video conferencing solution. Moodle is providing exam management software solutions. Both of them can partner and provide a solution to university, right? So that is the partnership. They are providing a solution together, right? So it is not that Moodle is buying Zoom software and integrating that. Both of them are in equal footing. They're having a partnership, joint partnership, and selling a combined solution to a customer. So that is the partnership. Franchise is a little bit again type of value added reseller, but they are not adding value in terms of any modifications or customization. Franchise is basically sometimes what happens, you have a software or you have a product, right? You are selling it, but they need certain additional training, they need certain additional maintenance services, right? So in that case, somebody can take a franchise from your company, right? There are a lot of this mm, project management softwares, right? There are a lot of this certifications also. What do those franchises do? They have a tie-up with those project management institute. They take the license, they take the processes, right? How project management should work, right? And under their project management institute's franchise, right? They started giving those training. They started giving those licenses to other clients, right? People do it in Six Sigma. Right? So there are a lot of these kind of softwares which need little bit of training, little bit of process orientation, right? So what they like in B2C, if you think of franchises are nothing but your this MACD, Domino's, and your KFCs, right? As a person or as a company, you take a franchise of MACD or KFC, right? And it is not about selling their product. You follow their processes also. What kind of processes they follow to store raw material? What kind of processes they follow to kind of prepare those products, right? So all those things. It is not about only the brand name. So it is also about the processes those companies follow, and you are trying to adhere to that, right? So these are the different type of channels which exist in B2B market, right? Then most of the times in today's world, what happens? There is not that, okay, I'll say that, okay, I'll only go through direct channel or I'll go through indirect channel. If you see most of the companies, they are almost everybody is into hybrid channel. Some part of that is being sold by direct channels, some part of through indirect channels also, right? Think of any company, let's say Cisco, they sell these network routers, switches, right? So they have their own website, they sell it through Amazon, they have the partners who go and do those kind of maintenance activities, installation activities, right? So they are into all the kind of channel through which customers can be, you can sell their, they can sell their product or services to different customers, right? So how do you compare these two, right? When you talk about direct and when you talk about indirect, obviously if I talk about hybrid, that is the combination of both, because direct is basically you are directly interacting with customers, right? So control of CX means customer experience, right? You are know that what customer actually needs. So always whatever the problem happens whenever there is a communication gap, and the best way to reduce communication is gap to reduce the number of channels, because customer requires something and you are selling something to a retailer or a distributor, right? There will be always certain information will be missed out, right? So that is the one advantage when you have a direct sales channel, right? So there is no intermediary in between them. The information loss will be minimal. Then marginal economies, you are not going to pay anything to your distributor, dealer, or third party. You have your own direct sales people. Low pricing, right? So that is again one of the key strategy. You can customize your pricing, right? Because obviously that margin. So I have given you a class exercise today that is about your Asian paint, which you need to complete by next Wednesday, right? So I've given you a YouTube video around 10 or 12 minutes of video, right? Go through it and try to understand how Asian paint, and that talk is very interesting. So they have talked about there are Ashko Nobel, there are Berger Paints, there are other paint companies who could have been the market leader. But how Asian Paint was able to lead the market only through this channel management. It is not that Asian Paints have a very good product. Comparatively, if you see, and in that video they're talking about, there are other competitors like Ashko Nobel, which they have an international kind of, they have a product which is like done, they have done a lot of R&D around it. So quality wise, they might have a better product, but only through managing a channel, only through the way they manage the channel system, channel management or distribution management, right? Asian Paint is one of the most profitable and most kind of having the most market share in Indian market, at least in the paint, right? So go through that video, and you can also do secondary research how they have actually innovated on their distribution channel. So that is where you'll see that how they like play with those margins and what is the difference they make with their competitors like Berger Paints and Asconova. Obviously, indirect channels also have their own, because you cannot reach out to all the geographies, all the markets, right? So for that, you have to have your direct sales office everywhere. Think about Cisco, SAP, or Oracle, right? For reaching out to tier 2, tier 3 cities, they need to have a office, sales office there, right? Otherwise, transportation cost itself will be very high. So in some cases, when it is not possible, right, to access all the market, US based company, Europe based company, they want to enter India, right? So they just cannot go and set up manufacturing plant, set up direct sales offices. First, they will have a tie up with partners, retailers, distributors. They'll try to sell, see that whether there exists a market, and then only they'll start going into a direct sales channel, right? So generally, that's why indirect sales channel helps in access speed, because if you're importing something from USA market, it will take a lot of time, right? So that is where you can help in this kind of capital efficient. You need not have to, so like I said, you need not have to put a manufacturing plant, direct sales office every time, right? You can take a help from a distributor or a dealer or a this value added resellers or partners also, right? So any questions up to this point? So on what basis you will select, or on what basis you will say that, okay, I'll start with direct sales channel or indirect sales channel? Depending upon market and channel dynamics, one of the key aspect, like I said, how many customers are there, right? Is it a big geography which you need to go through and have your direct sales channel? If it is a small geography, small country, you need not have to have your direct sales force. It will be very capital intensive. You need not have to have your own manufacturing plant there, right? So that can be one criteria. Market and sales dynamic, part of larger solution, right? What is your long-term goal? Long-term goal in the sense, right? Are you going to have a big market share in that market, or you just want to be take certain market share of that market, right? Think about most of the USA, European countries, right? Whether it is B2B, B2C, right? They entered Indian market, they'll put a lot of investment, but most of them failed. And few companies have, without having their own manufacturing plant, own retail kind of own distribution channel, right? So they have taken help of this kind of resellers, partners, right? because you need somebody who understand that market, right? Not always it is. So let's say you have the company, you want to enter Brazil or you want to enter South Africa, right? Most of the times companies fail due to that. So they believe that okay, if they are the market leader in India and Brazil or South Africa are similar market, and you can go and outperform the competitors. It won't happen. You need somebody who will be able to help you there, right? Then business model economics, that is part of your how much capital you are going to invest in that venture, right? Uh, then if I come back here and look about direct company owned, again, customer price sensitivity, like how much customization or how much price the customers are willing to pay, right? Because like I said, if you are utilizing distributors or retailers, 30%, 20% of the margin will go through distributors or retailers, right? So if you are able to sell directly, that margin percentage you can give a discount to customers, right? So that is somewhere you have to look into whether customers are price sensitive. They are not willing to pay above certain amount, right? Then obviously market dynamic capital needs we have discussed. Second is importance of experience, right? So that is something which I was talking about. You may be the market leader. Same thing if I say Asian Paints may be the market leader in India because they have a lot of data points. They have 60 or 80 years of experience running in this company. But when I go to Brazil, South Africa, or Europe or USA, right? Whether I have that kind of experience, whether I have salespeople who have worked there and who understand that market. If I have, then obviously I can jump into that direct sales. If I do not have that, first I have to acquire those salespeople. I have to get that experience, right? Then only I can jump into that market, right? So that is the overview of business marketing channel, direct, indirect, and if I mix them both, it will be hybrid, right? Any questions
Sir,
before you? Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
sir, if any foreign company wants to sell its product in
Mm.
India, but he has no office or anything in India, but he has partnered with some third party vendor or distributor or any third
Mm.
party different company.
Mm.
Let's say, suppose there are some specific Intel chip they want to sell in India, but there is no office for Intel. But this means means they took help from Dell or HP company for selling their product. So is this a indirect sale or hybrid sale?
So if they do not have a direct sales channel in India, it will be indirect sales, right? Because they do not have a direct sales in India.
But sir, due to some circumstances, they don't have office, but they are selling with some third party vendors or third company. So that maybe I think it should be hybrid. Na?
But they do not have any company owned or a direct sales force, right? Whatever may be the region. Do they have a direct sales force in India?
Um, no, if you we want to purchase any of their product, then we have to contact that SP office or Dell office for
Then it is
that chip. Then
indirect only, right? Then it will be indirect. If they have a
sir,
direct
then
office,
sir, can you give an example for hybrid cell?
Cisco, Cisco have their own direct sales, direct website from where you can sell, or where you can buy, the customers can buy their product. They can buy through partners. They can buy through websites also like Amazon or Flipkart, Cisco routers, switches. They can buy from Udan also. So Cisco
So
have their
means
own web.
there every product and service is involved in that purchasing criteria. Means we can buy Cisco software from that company as well as buy their router from online retail shop.
Yeah.
So
So
in this way, it
basically,
is a
yeah.
hybrid.
Basically, they can sell that they are selling their product or services through omni. Hybrid means omni channel. So they are selling through both direct sales channel. Direct means their own website or own direct sales people, and also they're selling through third party. It can be Amazon, Flipkart, or it can be any third party vendor. Those value
Okay.
added resellers.
Yes, I got it.
So direct difference between direct sales or advantages or disadvantages between direct and indirect. Product service is highly customized, right? So that is where, like I said, communication gap, right? If something is need to be customer specific, very technologically integrated product, and you need long discussions with customers, right? You need to have a direct sales channel, because in between, if you put a distributor, retailer, what they understand and what they communicate to you, it will be a very big problem, right? So most of the times, if it is again, depends upon the customer size also, or whether it is a big customer or small customer. But most of the times, if it is a technically complex product, right? So you need to go through the direct sales channel. So that is the second point what you talked about. Customers are large, right? If it is a very small country, very few customers, still you will not like to, even the technically complex product, you'll still go through a retailer or a distributor or a manufacturing representative. Sales involve extensive negotiations, right? Selling to government offices, selling to big institutions, right? It is not that, okay, you send a tender, you you give your bid or you give your proposal and suddenly it is done. Like I said, I was working as a procurement manager. Some of the deals or some of the tenders, it will take 18 months to 24 months, because lot of revisions, lot of negotiations happens in between. So it is not that you just somebody submitted bid and they are finalized and it is done. So a lot of times, lot of discussions regarding technical specifications, pricing, if you are importing something, rules and regulations, right? Lot of discussions, negotiations happen, right? And it takes a long time. So in that case, obviously, you'll prefer your own salespersons to get involved. Sometimes from customer side, it is a direct contact. So in Hindustan Petroleum's, for some of the, not all the product, for some of the product, we had a clear guidance. We cannot buy it from a retailer or a distributor. We have to buy from directly from company. Like some like kind of where we need particular licensing or particular technically complex product, or where we need the particular process. So generally what happens whenever this kind of chemical processing, whether it is any kind of refinery, right? You get profit or you have a good margin if you are using a good process technology. And most of these technologies are patented or kind of very confidential with those European and USA kind of companies, right? So in those kind of purchases, we need to have a direct contact with those companies, because we need not only the kind of chemicals, not only the software. We need how they're improving, they're optimizing the process also, right? So that is something for which we need to have a direct contact. So that is where your direct sales channel will be beneficial. Whenever your customers are large, products need to be highly customized. A lot of negotiations are required, and sometimes there's a requirement from customers. Most of the government offices, if you go to ministries, if you go to this kind of state or central organizations, they have for certain purchases they need to have a direct contact with the manufacturer, right? They will not go through the retailers or distributors. Indirect sales channels, markets are fragmented and widely dispersed. Big market, but very small customers. Customer base is very small, and that is a challenge actually in most of the B2B companies, right? Because if you think about B2C number of customers, B2B, obviously B2B number of customers are small, right? If somebody is coming up with a let's say this new ERP system or new kind of air conditioning system, and it will be implemented across schools, colleges, or malls. Altogether, number of customers may be 10,000 or 20,000. But same thing if I'm selling it to houses, air conditioning system, which will take less power. If I'm selling it to like customers, B2C customers in India, I think there are 5 crore or 3 crore like people who will be using, or less than that, little bit. Even if you take 1 crore, that is a huge customer base who are using air conditioning system. So that is the difference between when you talk about customers. Low transactions amount prevail, right? Customers, small customer base, and the amount, the revenue size, the revenue ticket size from each customer is small. Buyers typically purchase a number of items, often different brands in one purchase. So this is important. Sometimes what happen, like if I was giving that example of Cisco. So network installation, Cisco might provide this network switches or routers, right? But there are other, let's say, wires, other kind of products or other kind of services So if I want to install a LAN network or a WAN network, right? It is not only about the routers or switches. I need wires, I need certain distributors, right? I need kind of energy management system. I need small kind of stabilizers, energy stabilizers. I need inverters. So these are the additional requirement, right? So as a Cisco might not sell all those products. Cisco is only selling routers or switches, right? So in that case, what will happen? So they'll be selling it to these resellers, value-added resellers. So value-added resellers will be buying product from different. So they'll buy switches or routers from Cisco. They'll buy inverters or this stabilizers from another company. They'll buy this network wires, cables from another company, and they'll integrate them all together and they'll sell it to the final customer, right? So that is the work of a value-added reseller. They are adding value. So they are integrating all the product or services and providing that solution to the customer. So they are buying actually. They are buying from Cisco. They are buying the cables from some other vendor. They are buying the inverter stabilizers from other vendor. Right now they are going and let's say you like say some hostel or any like kind of any hostel they want to implement a LAN network in the hostel, right? So in that case, that value-added reseller will combine all those product and services and will go and provide the solution to them that in university or institute, right? So that is where it can be beneficial to sell through indirect sales channel, right? Then any questions or any doubt on this? So now the question is how to like. So I have skipped the direct sales channel part because sales as a separate will take it as a separate topic. Account management, right? How to decide that account strategy, right? So that itself, so that part I'm not discussing today. So direct sales, what is the direct channel, right? We'll discuss as a part of B2B sales, right? What we are discussing today is mostly on indirect part. Indirect part means your distributor or manufacturing representative, partners, value-added resellers, or those website, right? Online platforms. So how to decide on a good distributor, right? Let's say think about Tata Motors or Ashok Leyland, right? They are selling these trucks, they are selling these big heavy vehicles, heavy like commercial vehicles, SCV, right? So on part basis, if they want to sell into Odisha region or northeastern part of India, right? Right now, let's say they do not have any distributors here. Obviously they have, but let's say they do not have. On part basis, they'll select those distributors. So this is a old survey back in 2015, right? On what basis you decide what is your criteria, first criteria to decide on a good distributor, right? So I think it was around 200 or 300 companies. So the survey was done and first criteria is to whether my distributor can target those customers, right? So that is one key criteria, right? So that again based upon the size of the distributor, the financial capability, the network capability, right? Because see, my end goal is to reach to my customers, right? So how am I going to select the distributor? Whether that distributor will be able to reach out to all the customers, right? Whether they are aligned with my marketing objective goals, right? What kind of budget they have, what kind of return on investment they have, right? Because again I have to like send certain inventory, they have to like on how quickly they are able to sell those inventories, right? So that will give me a good return on investment, right? Product or services being offered, right? So all these, if you see top 4 or 5 criteria are basically related to customers and how much profit I'm going to make as a customer, sorry, as a company, not customer. So whether I'm able, so again customer means whether I'm able to reach out to those customers to make revenue, and obviously once I reach out to those customers whether I'm able to make money out of it, right? So few conditions or few criteria or few qualification objectives of distributors are financial. So that is something, if you want to be the distributor of Tata Motors or Ashok Leyland, they'll look into your 3 years balance sheet. It is suddenly not that I want to be a distributor and I'll, so in that case I have to show them my current account and my bank balance, whether I have sufficient amount of money, to pay for the inventory, right? So generally what happens is I'll be paying the advance sum amount 30%, 40% or 50%, and they will be sending those heavy commercial vehicles. Or so basically they have to, like Ashok Leyland or Tata Motors or Mahindra, if they're selling tractors, they need to have a belief in me or my company that yes, I can handle that much inventory. So that is where the aspect of financial comes. Good functional operations. Do I have a warehouse to store those products? Do I have resources? Let's say it is a heavy commercial vehicles, very like kind of big commercial vehicles. Do I have installation? Because it is not that it will go and so you need installation or maintenance expertise, right? If you are selling those JCB machines and all those things, that distributor uh, or distributor company need to have resources who can maintain those JCB machines. Because let's say some customers in rural India, road construction is going on, JCB machine got like malfunctioning, right? Distributor need to have those service personnel who can go and repair that, right? Skills and technical expertise, that is where it comes. And it is much more required in software. If let's say you are doing SAP integration, if you are doing certain kind of software integration or network like kind of installation, you need to have those, you need to have resources who have that kind of expertise, skills and expertise. Then obviously the contacts, because as a distributor, if you do not have customer contact, then why a company is going to hire you? Why a company is going to give you 20% or 30% commission, right? So that is somewhere they look into your experience, how many years you are operating in that market. So getting this kind of B2B distributorship is little bit of difficult, because they look into not as an individual, look into as a company. How many years you have operated? Do you have a financial background? Do you have enough bank balance to manage inventory, right? So in simple one line, if you have to put what can they do and who do they know, right? Those are the two aspects. So whether they have expertise, technical expertise, skills, whether they have money. Second, whether they have customer contact. If they're taking our distributor channel, can they go to different market and sell our product? Can they reach out to different customers? E-collaboration between manufacturer and distributor from planning to servicing is a critical strategic force in B2B arena. When you talk about e-collaboration, that is where your ERP implementation comes into picture, right? So 10 years, 20 years back, that used to be optional. All things can be done in paper and through a telephone kind of call. But now what happens, customers are becoming very choosy. So they will not wait for 5 days, 10 days to get an answer. Suddenly a customer requires certain answer, certain code. It is not that they will ask the distributor will call to your sales office will kind of after 3 days will give that information to distributor, and distributor again will go back to customer. So that 7 days, 10 days gap in today's world, customers are not willing to wait that much. Whatever they need, any kind of services, any kind of information, it has to be instant. For that to happen, that integration. So when I say this ERP system implementation, that helps you to like any kind of services, your distributor need not have to approach anyone. They have access to all the details. They can go through that and send it across to kind of the customer, whatever information they require. They have access to the pricing part. They can coordinate with you and the customer and kind of negotiate the final pricing, right? So that's why in today's world, this e-collaboration, basically the technology integration has to happen, right? Let's say also Leland or the same example, like if it is again paper-based, right? The customer needs certain additional customization of those vehicles. Let's say defense. Most of the times, defense vehicles need to be customized. So it is not that paper pen based, they'll send documents. It has to be in the system itself. Whatever customer requirement, it will directly come to distributor, and in the system itself, the company will be able to come to know that what are the changes customers are requiring. Right. So those are the few things, or those are the one important aspect of the technology integration in this B2B channel management. And that is something when you do that class exercise, you'll come to know how important is that. Any questions on this? So then this is something I guess you might not have heard or might not have seen before. There is someone called manufacturing representative, right? So in B2B, when you talk about indirect channel, right? So obviously there is something called partners, value-added resellers, franchises, right? Uh, Majorly, it is divided into distributors and manufacturing representative for this product-based company, right? So whenever you are selling a product or a component, right? Either you can sell it to these distributors, or there will be someone called manufacturing representative. So manufacturing representative, think them as consultants, think them as manufacturing consultant. Uh, uh, I'll take an example. Let's say this in Patia, this Mani Tribhuvan, Z1, those are the big apartment. Or if you go to this little bit of like that side, Khandagiri side, Tata is having their own kind of apartment, right? So obviously for apartment, when they are kind of they have that common space or those kind of all the apartment need to have this elevator lift system, right? 20 floor, 15 floor, they need to have this lift system, right? And there are many companies like Otis, Johnson and Johnson. There are many companies who provide those lift services, right? Basically, that product, all the installation and the product itself and installation, right? It can be done through distributor. It can be done through manufacturing representative. But what does this manufacturing representative additionally do? In this particular case, manufacturing representative would be a person who have detailed technical expertise about it. If you have this kind of building, general weight you need to carry is this. What kind of lift will be system will be suitable? What kind of new technology has come to market? Who lift is better in the market, right? So manufacturing. So the key difference between this manufacturing representative and distributor. Distributor can be a normal company and they can hire certain resources. Manufacturing representative is most of the times a person who has worked in that industry for 10, 20 or 30 years. They are kind of working as a consultant. So now what will happen whenever this kind of apartment buildings are installing this elevators or lifts, right? So they will take a help from this consultant. So they think them as this, they're not necessarily architects in this sense, but architects kind of, they have that kind of knowledge who architects have, right? So they know that exactly which kind of lift, which kind of elevator will be suitable for your building, and accordingly they will guide you. So now what happens? They becomes the bridge between that construction company, right? Tata Buildings or Z1 or money kind of developers, and the elevator of the lift company, right? So they become the bridge between those two companies. Distributor, what happens? Distributor is basically a part of your company. They take the ownership of the product. They keep your spare part or component in their warehouses. Manufacturing representatives do not do that. They do not own the product. They do not take the ownership of the product. They do not have their own inventory. They are people like you and me. Only part they have is the technical expertise. And so for that to happen, they take a heavy discount, because if they're going to promote your product, they are going to take a heavy commission out of it, right? So that is the big difference between manufacturing representative and distributor. And most of the times in this kind of complex product where you need certain kind of technical intelligence or technical expertise, manufacturing representatives play a big role. If it is a normal product, when I say normal product, not that technically complex, you can sell it through distributors. But if the customer needs certain kind of guidance, same thing, air conditioning system. For air conditioning system, this manufacturing representatives are preferred, because they have that. It is not only buying a product, having that piping system, having that air handling units, integrating them. It takes a lot of technical expertise. You need some resources who can guide you on that. So in that case, manufacturing representative plays a big role. So the main difference are more technically advanced, right? So that's why whenever there is a technically complex product, think them as consultant, technical consultants, know their territory better, right? So most of the times what happens, a person who is working in that industry for 15 or 20 years after their retirement or after voluntary retirement, so they generally start their own this manufacturing representative agency. So they become these manufacturing agents. So they do not build their own warehouses. They do not become distributors. So what they capitalize is because they have a vast experience, 15 years, 20 years in that industry. So they become these kind of technical consultants or manufacturing agents, right? So because they have 15 years, 20 years of experience, they know the territory better. They know that who are the customers, what are their requirements, right? So that's why they in comparison to distributor, they have a better territorial knowledge, are able to sell professionally. Because imagine if somebody has worked in that industry for 15, 20 or 30 years as a B2B salesperson, obviously they will have a good sales pitch, right? Most of the time, these account managers or B2B salesperson, after they retire or after they working 20 years or 30 years, they start their own this agency, right? Manufacturing agency. Yes, yes, Vithal.
So is it like freelancing?
Uh, Freelancing in the sense, yeah, you can think of in that way, but they freelancing in the sense, it is not that they are a sales person in some company and they are doing it in their part-time job. It is not a part-time job. It is again a full-time job after your retirement, or most of the times. It is not that uh, after 10 years also you can start your manufacturing agency. But generally, it takes 15 or 20 years of experience. Then they retire from the company or they leave the company and start their own company as a manufacturing agent. It is not a part-time job. It is not that they're working in some company as a B2B salesperson and they are doing it as a part-time. Any other questions? Yes, Asutosh.
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, as you have told like for Johnson and Johnson, they will be approaching to the tier one. Sir, for a pharma company, it replaced the medicine representative. Means the role of manufacturer representative is equals to the medicine representative role for a pharma company.
Yes, you can think in that way, but what happens? Medicine representatives most of the times are basically kind of employees of those companies. Let's say Johnson and Johnson, or let's say Cipla, they will have medicine representative in their own payroll. But manufacturing agents are not payroll of any company, so they are independent consultants. But yes, they have, like in medicine representative, have a good knowledge about the pharma, which capsule or what are the ingredients of those products. Here, for a product or for a service or for a software, this manufacturing agents have a good technical expertise because they have worked in that industry for last 20, 25 years. But they are again independent. They do not work for a single company. Whichever company they have kind of partnered with, so they will work for again a short-term period, make the sales, take a commission of 5%, 10%, sometimes 20%, and again move on to next contract. So they are not like, okay, some company will hire them and they will work. So they have their own customer contact, they have their own customer base. Accordingly, they will be taking commission. So if you need to kind of sell something in that territory, right, you have to connect, because customer will tell, I'll take the advice from that agency only. So you reach out to them, and in between they'll take the commission.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that is what it is written here. Usually represent several companies. It is not that they will be working for a single company. So they are independent consultant agents. When you will be using this, when product is not standard, close to made to order, right? When you need a customization, right? Particular industry, you need certain customization of that product, because technically, yes, Prachita.
So you mentioned that they usually represent several companies. So, do they represent companies in the same industry, or are we talking about different industries? Because if they do it in the same industry, won't there be clash of interests? Like if a client is asking for a suggestion, then on what basis will they choose as to which company they'll suggest?
Correct. So most of the times, obviously, they will have their own profit in mind. But generally, that is where the trust thing comes, because they are in that industry, they have a good relationship with customer. So in one of the slides, I'll show you that. One of the, again, the customers also will be asking, right? On what basis you are kind of suggesting or advising me to go to that company, right? So again,
Yes,
that
sir.
they keep a balance between that. They do represent several companies in the same industry, but again, like depending upon the customer want and need, right? Let's say customer wants a very quick installation without much warranty requirement, right? So they'll be able to suggest one company. But let's say company customer need a annual maintenance contract for next 5 years or 10 years, they'll be able to suggest another company. Or they need certain kind of new technology. Not all the companies will have that kind of technology, right? So in the manufacturing agent will be able to suggest some other company, right? So that is where their expertise will help. And the
Okay.
next advantage is they help in actually in this customization. Think about that day I was taking that example. If I want to install air conditioning system across a new air conditioning system across college buildings in KIT campus, as a university administrator, I do not have any technical knowledge about how much air conditioning system is required, which will be the best company, what kind of piping is required, what will be my electricity consumption per month, whether I need an annual maintenance contract or not, right? So I'll take the help of this manufacturing agent, because if I go to a distributor is from only one company. He will be selling me that company's product. But if I take the help of this manufacturing agent, he will be able to give me based upon my requirement, give me the suggestion for best solution. He will again coordinate with the company. He will
Yes,
take the
sir.
commission from the company, but again, the coordination activities, everything, he will give me the help, right? So of the
Okay, sir.
total sales price, let's say if it is 10 crore, he will take around 5% of that, 5%, 3%, sometimes 20%.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
They are normally paid commission. However, deals can be made to paid a monthly minimum. Sometimes if it is a long-term installation, right, the road work is going on, or some breeze building is going on. People are there, technical consultant are there who keep those kind of consulting, right? If it is a long-term project, 24 months, 30 months, right? So in that case, you will not get a lump sum payment. You will get monthly premium amount. But if it is a one-time installation, the work will be completed within 2 months or 3 months, right? So you'll just take your commission and solve whatever the consultancy will provide and done with it, right? So that is what one of the key criteria. Yeah.
Sir, in B2B business, does distributor have a power to choose their that company?
Choose that power means obviously if
Choosing
you
for
in
like
it,
in
obviously you'll have it is not that somebody is going to force you that you have to be mine distributor, right? Based upon the commission they are providing, based upon the kind of help they are providing, right? You can choose to be the distributor of any company, right?
yes, sir, like the company they are choosing by considering their financial and operation by that points. Does distributor have a such criteria
Yes,
to
yes,
select
yes,
their
definitely. First criteria obviously with the profit, how much commission that company is going to provide me. If let's say I am a distributor of this lift or elevator product, there are companies like Johnson Controls, Otis, some several other, right? So one of the first criteria will be which company is giving me the best commission. Which because as a company, my motive as a distributor, my motive is to make profit. So if a company, some company is providing 5% as commission, some company is providing 20% commission. So obviously I'll go for the 20% or 10% commission who is provided. So that will be my first criteria.
okay.
So for the company, if you see, so they'll be looking into otherwise. They'll be looking into who distributor who is asking for less commission. So both of that in the monetary terms. So both of that like kind of there is a conflict. As a company, I'll be looking into distributor who is charging me less commission. But as a distributor, I'll be looking into company who is providing me better commission. So that's why it is not the only criteria. Then obviously the help of training and installation services, whether that company is providing those technology, providing you that kind of training to your employees. In B2B, it has to be there, right? Because if you want to be a big distributor or a big like kind of profitable distributor, you need to have, because you will make money from maintenance contract. The product may be a 5% or 3% commission, but generally these distributors will make a lot of profit for next 3 years or 5 years of annual maintenance contract. But for that, they need to get the training, whether companies is providing that. Whether companies are kind of a good brand name, because customers, as a customer, they will always, even the B2B customers, they always go for a good brand name. If a company is providing very 20%, 25% margin, but they are a startup, they do not have an existing brand, they are starting their own company. As a distributor, you might have to think about it. They might be providing 25% commission, but you never be able to sell their product because they are basically new company. They do not have a good brand. So those are the many things which as a distributor you have to think of.
Okay, got it.
So then partnerships, here I've given example of TCS. Like I said, if TCS do not have that, they are again starting to invest a lot in that. They do not have their cloud service platform. So if they want to create a software which will help manufacturers in manufacturing automation, manufacturing scheduling, right? So they'll be partnering with either AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure to provide that solution, right? So here it is not that they're buying cloud services. So they are partnering with them, both of them coming together, TCS, Google Cloud or TCS, AWS. They'll come together. Like most of the banks are right now using this AWS, Amazon Web Services, right? Basically, all the information, all the data is being stored in Amazon Web Services. So if you are providing a digital banking solution to SBI or ICICI Bank, you have to take the partnership because TCS as a company do not have their own cloud services. So they have to take that technology help partnership with either AWS or Google Cloud and provide that solution to banks, provide that solution to manufacturing companies. So this is where there is something TCS has built, cloud factory model. They have kind of have a partnership with Google Cloud. I have taken this from their website. So they are calling it as machine first approach. So basically manufacturing automation. Any manufacturing plant, they need to automate their manufacturing. So they need that kind of software integration. But for that, all the information for the data storage, you need certain cloud services, servers. So TCS is partnering with these kind of companies to provide those kind of services. Right? So that is where your B2B partners comes into picture. So they are not kind of your distributor, they are not manufacturing agent. So they are your partners and both of you together are providing that solution, right? Then value-added resellers, like I said, it is little bit different than partners. They will be selling. So let's say most of the times this kind of concept is used in software. Microsoft Office, or let's say SPSS, Tableau, SAS. So all these softwares which you know of or which you have heard of, right? Most of the times what happens, if it is a very small customer base, company do not have a this SPSS or SAS for this training. So it is not only that somebody is buying SPSS, somebody is buying SAS and it is done. You need actually training for that. You need actually integration, how to install that. So what kind of system you need, what kind of servers you need, right? You might not have that kind of cloud services, right? So now what will happen, this third party, this company, they will integrate everything. Like I was giving that example of network management. Let's say in the hostel, KIT hostel, the network, LAN network need to be established or WN network need to be established. So this person will be coordinating with Cisco. They will be coordinating with those companies who provide this network cable. They will be coordinating with inverter company and integrate all of them and provide that solution to the customers. So they'll come to KIT University and install that, right? So they will become the software reseller. So they are the kind of persons, they are the company who are taking the products from software publishers and providing a solution to the clients or customers, right? So all these activities they do, starting with your support, maintenance, monitoring, licensing. So whatever license management, all these softwares comes with a 1 year or 2 year or few years of license, right? So currently, not recent, I think last November or October, 1 year back, We used to have, I think, SPSS 22 or 23. We updated into 25 or 26. So that was basically, it is not that we are directly connecting with SPSS personnel. There are third-party vendors who are managing SPSS license in India. So we generally connect with them, and they are the ones who come and provide the licenses. And actually, that time the discussion was happening whether we can do this kind of remote licensing, right? So that kind of technology integration cannot be done by a distributor, because for remote licensing to happen, you need to have a separate server. So for that, again, you have to buy a server. Basically, kit need to have a kit means KSM need to buy a server or so cloud space, and then the remote kind of we can remotely manage this spaces software. At that time, last 1 year, not last 1 year, last year only that discussion was happening. So in that case, that third-party vendor. So SPSS is not bothering about what kind of. So they are only going to sell the software. But this third-party value-added reseller is adding that value. So they understood our problem and try to give a solution, right? And then how it is different from the manufacturing agent or a representative? Because agent is not going to like do all these activities. That company is going to do the activities. The agent is only the bridge. Here, what happens? Software reseller is actually buying that SPSS license in our name. They will buy the like kind of whatever cloud space or the cloud storage we require, and integrate them and provide the solutions. So they are actually purchasing those licenses in our name, and they'll provide. Obviously, they'll take a commission out of it. If they are buying it the license at 100 rupees, all everything included 100 rupees, they'll put their commission 10%, 20%, and at the end they'll charge us 120 or 130 rupees. But now what happens? Client is not going to connect with this person, this company. Anytime any problem happens, they are just only talking with the software reseller, because this person, this company has provided them the solution, right? So they are most of the time are these system integrators. Some of the aspect like there are few companies who are very good in this manufacturing automation, right? There are few companies who are working in this kind of supply chain automation, because they have lot of kind of experience in integrating different IoT, different sensors across your supply chain, right? So they might partner with TCS, they might partner with SAP, they might partner with Oracle. They'll take their software, they'll customize it, and they'll sell it to the final customer. Let's say these companies like delivery or the new age supply chain companies, they need certain advanced supply chain software. So they will reach out to this kind of software reseller who will integrate all those solutions and provide them integrate all those technology softwares and provide them with a solution, right? Is this clear? What is the role of a value-added reseller? So they are adding certain values and reselling those softwares or solutions, right? So that is the name of value-added resellers. Then one of the indirect platform can be your e-commerce platforms, Amazon, eBay, Alibaba. There is something called JD.com, Tmall.com, right? Where you can sell your product as a B2B company. If you talk about India, India Mart, Udaan, right? There is something called Power to SME. There used to be one company called Pura.com that got closed, right? Lot many actually before Udaan came, there used to be many other companies, right? But basically startups, but they had to close their shops. They were not profitable. So there are online marketplaces which sell every kind of product, right? There are certain marketplaces which are very kind of what will tell unique, or they are very targeted online marketplaces, right? So online pure player websites. So that means there are few websites in India, so which only sell commodities. Like if you want to buy or sell rubber, steel product, cables, right? So there is a company called Power to SME. So they only deal with 3 or 4 different type of products. But if you talk about Amazon business, Amazon is selling everything. If you talk about Udaan, Udaan is selling almost everything. India Mart is selling almost everything. So India Mart, Udaan will come into this online marketplace, Power to SME, which is only dealing with 3 or 4 commodities. So they are very specific. So they are only selling these 3 or 4 commodities to all those. So as a like kind of company, if I want to sell, let's say I am a steel manufacturer. I'm not like Tata Steel or a Jindal Steel. I'm a very small Odisha based or a like Bhubaneswar based, started my own manufacturing setup. I obviously do not have distributors, dealers. So I will sell through, let's say, this online marketplace, right? Obviously with a competitive pricing. So I can take the help of that power to SME, which is basically sells those kind of product, right? So that is the difference between online marketplace and online pure marketplace. Online marketplace, several product categories are huge, right? Any kind of product you can sell there. Here it is very dedicated. So what happens? The difference. What happens here? Customers who are buying, trying to sell, buy steel, rubber, all those kind of commodities. They'll generally go to this power to SME because you have that supplier base. You have a very big supplier base for those kind of products. Udan and Alibaba, or let's say India Mart, there are many products. There can be like thousands of different products, but for each product, the supplier base will be very few. But here, because it is very specific product, any company who are selling into that kind of product will be into this kind of online marketplace. Or you can sell through your own direct sales or affiliates. You can sell through your own website or affiliates website. Those company like those value added resellers or those kind of partners, right? Or distributors, right? They can, like, let's say mostly if it is a software product, right? So they can put your company's product in their own website also, right? Or you obviously you have your direct sales when you have your own website. Like I gave that example, Cisco, if you want to buy certain routers or switches, you can go to Cisco marketplace and buy that directly from their website also, right? Or you can buy the same thing from Amazon, right? Any questions on this? So then what model to choose? One of the parameter obviously is the cost. It is basically very easy to sell. I'll not say easy, but kind of cost effective, right? Think about in this way: if you are selling through your own website, customers generally come. Most of the times, if it is advance, they will pay the advance, and you will directly send it from your warehouses. The cost per transaction is very less because you are not spending a lot in this kind of negotiations, contact. Somebody comes to your website either through your own website or online marketplace, whatever is the price after discount you have given, they will select that price, whatever product, how many product they want to buy from the website, right? But again, it is not possible for all the product. If it is normal product, not technically complex, it is not that somebody is going to buy heavy commercial vehicles, they'll go to website and directly purchase from there, right? Because they will need certain customization. But those which don't need customization, right, can be sold through this kind of website. Or it can be through telephone. Most of the companies have their salesperson's telephone numbers listed in the website. Customers can connect with those offices and directly buy from there, right? Then partner channel, which we discussed just a little bit earlier, either through your partners, value-added resellers, or distributors or manufacturing agents, right? Or it can be direct sales. But if you see, interaction is growing because if it is a direct sales, communication is better, right? You are directly interacting with your customers. Accordingly, cost per transaction is growing because you are putting money. So direct sales means that salesperson salary he is taking, transportation, whatever transportation stay, they have to, in last 2 years, travel is little less, but generally B2B salespersons means every month they will be traveling some different cities, right, to meet different customers, right? So that is where your cost per transaction increases. Salary of the salespersons, transportation stay, right? And there are also business related other activities for which your prices or cost per transactions will kind of increase. So that is where you have to keep a balance, right? Obviously, at the end, the major parameter of any company will be revenue or profit, right? Keeping that in mind and customers in mind, right? You have to. So that is where, if you summarize that, how much money you are going to make, and are you able to reach out to your customers, right, through that channel? right? That will be your criteria for selecting channel. So most of the times in today's world, it is hybrid channel or omni channel. Omni channel is any channel, right? Omni means everywhere, every channel, whatever you can have, right? So direct sales channel, that is the field representative. So that means your own sales force, or it can be business partners or tele channels through telephone, direct mail, email communications, internet, right? Through your website or through your e-commerce channels, right? And there are different stages of sales cycle, right? So what happens for most of the companies right now, what is happening? So they are integrating their direct sales strategy with their channel strategy. So what does it mean? If let's say Cisco is or SAP is trying to sell certain kind of software or certain kind of solutions to customers, they know that every time they sell this direct sales team to Bhubaneswar or to Kolkata or to any other place, it is costing them a lot of money. And obviously they do not have a that many salesperson who can always travel, right? Always there is a shortage of salespeople. So what they do in the beginning, lead generation and qualifications. So they try to take help from website, email, telephone, and their business partners. So rather than sending their own direct salespeople to the locations, right? Because that is again transportation, stay, all those are costly. Think about it, if it is a we used to like kind of for this the example I was given. There is a company called Linde AG. So they are one of the big company. Being brand name is, so they compete with BASF. BASF is another chemical company. We used to take a few chemicals from US and Europe. So those are the two major competitors: Linde AG, BASF, 3M. So what happens for any kind of process kind of support, any kind of technology partnership, their salespeople need to come to India. Obviously, whenever they will travel to India, they will stay in a 5-star or a 4-star hotel, transportation. So those are the cost to them, right? Unless the deal is finalized, every time they come fly from USA or Europe, the top individuals to meet the higher management. It is costly to them, right? So what happens? So initial part of, unless it is in the negotiation part, right? Most of the companies try to complete those activities with the help of website, obviously through email, through phone, or through your business partners, right? So in India, if you have a distributor, retailer, or kind of business partners who can help you in that. Only thing, whenever there is a negotiation and final sales closure, right? You will take the help of direct sales people, your own employee. They will fly. So what happens here? You will save a lot of money there. So generally, one of the key cost in B2B sales is this transportation, say, stay, lodging, all this business related cost is one of the major cost in B2B sales. So most of the companies try to leverage all part of sales, other steps being taken care by either email, website, or your telephone, or your retailers or distributors or business partners. Only thing, whenever you have a negotiation or sales closure, you take the help of that direct sales people, right? So that is how most of the B2B companies right now are getting into this omni-channel strategy, right? Any doubt or any questions on this? Okay, so quickly channel design process. So the 6 steps, obviously, anytime, see anything. So that is one good thing about marketing. Anything in sales and marketing, anytime anybody asks. So if somebody asks about a marketing plan, if somebody is asking about a digital marketing strategy, if somebody is asking about a channel management, if you do not know the answer, the first step you should talk about customer. That is the standard answer. Anything related to sales and marketing, any plan, basically, always you start with a customer. Whether it is a marketing channel, means distribution channel, digital marketing, that is the communication channel, or pricing, or product, how will you create a product strategy, how will you create a go-to-market strategy, how will you create a digital marketing strategy, how will you create a channel strategy. Any question, if you do not remember the answer, if you do not remember the step 1, start with customer, right? That is the standard answer, end user focus. Obviously, because that is our forefront, they are going to give us money. So first criteria is first find out customer segment, find out who are your customers, right? Start with the customers, find out the requirement. Like I said, there are government organizations who need a direct sales force. So if you are trying to sell, you one of the major target segment for your company is government offices. You need to have your direct sales force in those locations, because most of the government organizations do not deal through these retailers or distributors, because they need the warranty guarantee from the office direct company, not from the distributors. So that's why they will not buy from your product. Might be excellent quality wise, but they will not buy from distributors, retailers. So if your customer is government offices, you need to have your direct sales force there. You have to go through a direct sales channel. So first find out customer segment, start with customer, find out what are the requirements. Do we need a standard product or do they need a customized product? Do they need a training help? Do they need a maintenance contract? Right? So all these things, those are the requirements from customers, right? Again, it is listed in this next slide. Then you yourself do that SWOT analysis, understand your capability as a B2B channel. Do you have salespeople who can actually provide those services? Do you have training or service personnel who can provide those services? Right. So that is the initial own awareness, right? Carrying out that SWOT analysis about your channel, specific to your channel. Understand what is your strength, weakness, what kind of opportunity, and what are your threats. Right? Then benchmark channel offerings to key competitors. Look into what competitors are doing in that same market. Look into your competitors and what kind of channel they are into. Create channel solutions to customers' latent need. Latent means something which is not clearly they have put forward. It like I was giving that example. Right now, a customer is looking into a software, so they are looking for companies who can give them this video conferencing solution. But as a company, can you look into what kind of problem that institutes are facing in today's world? A lot of institutes are facing this online classroom. Can I provide a solutions around it rather than just selling a software, right? So that is the meaning of latent needs. Latent is which is not clearly stated, which is invisible, right? Can I look into that? Obviously, first I found out what are the actual requirement now, but are there any requirements which will come into picture which is customers are not able to clearly mention, or customers themselves are also not clear, right? So that is something you will be able to provide that consulting. Like most of the consulting companies leverage on that. Why do you think Accenture and all those Deloitte have a better kind of growth rate than other companies, software-based companies? Because they can foresee or they are able to provide that management consultancy. What will happen in the future, and accordingly you prepare your technology for that, rather than only selling the technology. Then the last one is evaluate and select channel options, right? Obviously, most of the times it will be omni-channel. There are very few companies who are only into direct sales or indirect sales. Most of them will be into omni-channel or multi-channel, right? I'll take another 2 minutes just to complete the next slide. Whatever is left out, we'll discuss in next class. So customers drive the channel design process because these are the requirement of customers. Customers might need service. Customers might need installation. Customers might need assortment. Assortment in the sense, like I was talking about, network installation. They are just not looking to buy network switches or routers. They need a assortment of product. They need cables. They need inverters. They need routers and switches. Right. So that is the assortment of product. What is the customer requirement? Size. At what size they are like. So that is one thing as a company you have to look into. If customers are small, they might not directly like connect with you. They might go through these distributors or retailers. You as a company also would not be willing to sell, like let's say if somebody in the size of SAP or Oracle, they will not look into small companies in tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? So that is something you need not, they need not sell the direct sales force to negotiate with them, right? Do they need financing? So all these B2B platforms, what you have seen, Udan, India Mart, Power to SME, which I was talking about, most of them provide financing because there are a lot of B2B customers in India. They do not have initial finance to initial money to buy product. So they need certain kind of financing. So obviously, if they need financing as a company, I cannot provide them. So that is where your vehicle financing, if let's say customers wants to buy tractors, there are financing for that, farm financing for that. Mahindra might have a separate Mahindra Finance, or they might collaborate with Sundaram Finance to provide that kind of financing solutions. What kind of guarantees they need? Government offices, they will directly need guarantees from the supplier. That's why they will not involve this kind of channel partners. Do they need customization? If there is a need of customization, supplier need to come, because depending upon customer requirement, you have to change the product or services. What kind of information they need, right? What kind of, like in certain kind of this kind of consulting work, it is not only software, it is about the what kind of technology they need to work on, what kind of technology they need to integrate, right? So that is why that kind of information is required from the supplier. Companies like Accenture or Deloitte or those kind of companies, right? So depending upon what customer requires, whether you will sell it through a channel partner or directly from a supplier, that will be decided by that, right? So I'll stop here for today. Rest whatever 2 or 3 slides left, we'll discuss in the next class. Any last minute questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, due to network issue, I was unable to join on time. I joined around 10:30, so I missed my attendance, sir.
Roll number 54. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Roll number
So roll
18
number
also.
26.
One by one. Roll number
18.
26.
26. Okay.
Sir, 18.
18. Okay. Anyone else?
Sir, 114. 114, sir.
Okay. Okay.